working class American just walking around. Why do I need to worry about Africa? I have my own worries here.
Because the thing is that some of the liberations and some of the things, the rights that we've got in this country literally stems from Africa. Because all of our black leaders at one point went back to the motherland. We talking Martin Luther King, we're talking Maya Angelou, we're talking all these, went back and find their roots, and came back here and led the movement forward. So that's why it's important.
But that's a different
because
conversation.
Part of your history comes from there.
Yeah, but that's a different conversation. That's a different. If you're talking about but if you're talking about people going back and learning about their roots, sure. But I'm just saying, as an American, I'm sorry to be vain again. Why do I care? If I was an American, why do I care?
You know, the young man in this video has the same attitude that some people in the comment section, in my comment section, have. Oh, well, why should he care? He got worries. He's working. He doesn't have time to care about the African continent. He working. Who ain't working? Majority of the people around the world is what they doing, working. But as the black community, we want people to care about stuff that's happening in our community. We want people to care that there's violence happening against people in the black community. We want people to care that black people still facing discrimination in 2024. We want people to care that there's still some inequality going on in the United States of America pertaining to the black community. We want people to care. You want people to care. So then what's wrong with you caring about another community, particularly a community that looks like you? What's wrong with you caring? You don't think they working? Do you think they were also working when they were caring during the George Floyd murder? Do you think they were also working, farming, living their lives? Of course they were. Of course they were. But they took time out of their working schedule to care about the black community. That wasn't the only time that they cared about the black community. During the civil rights movement as well, they cared what was going on. They also had things to say about the discrimination, about the violence, about the prejudice that was happening against the black people in the black community in the United States of America. It's out there. Go read about it. You know, there's a monument in B9. It's a monument in commemoration of the Tree of Forgetfulness. And the Tree of Forgetfulness was a part of the Dahomey Kingdom at the time. Of course, like I said, there's a monument there now. The tree's no longer there. There's just a monument. But the Europeans used to force the enslaved Africans to walk around that tree 7 times so that the enslaved Africans could forget their culture, could forget their land, could forget their family, could forget their religion, could forget their language, could forget their name. And why did the Europeans have them do that, you might ask? Because it would be easy to control them. You take away a person's identity, you take away who they are, you can make that person do whatever you want to do, want them to do. They're not going to question you. When you take away somebody's identity and take away who they are and where they came from, then you can create who they are and where they came from. That's what the Europeans wanted to do to the enslaved Africans. They knew how strong and full of pride the Africans from these various African empires were. They knew that. And in order to control them, they had to strip them of their identity. So when they came to the United States of America, the Europeans told them, you are no longer allowed to practice your religion. You cannot speak the language. You cannot do anything culturally. They separated the families and they changed their names. The man in this video that's talking about he don't care is one of the, coming from that generation of forgetfulness. And the man in the video, the other man in the video said, well, wait a minute, Dr. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, two prominent leaders in your community went back to the African continent, got inspired, came back, kind of shared their inspiration with the black community, and that really definitely propelled the civil rights movement kind of forward. And what did the man say? What did the young man say? Oh, that's a different conversation. He didn't want to talk about that. That's a different. He didn't want to talk about that. That's a different conversation. What different conversation is it? You asking why you should care, and he's telling you why, and you don't want to talk about that. And that's what some African Americans do within the black community. When you start talking about these prominent leaders, well, wait a minute, didn't they go back to Ghana? Oh, well, hey, we don't want to talk about them. They old, they in the past, they history. History is history. It doesn't make it less important just because it's history. It actually makes it more important because you definitely want to learn from it so you won't repeat it. But they don't want to talk about Dr. Martin Luther King, just like the man in the video. And that's because Dr. Martin Luther King, he traveled to Ghana. He was invited by Kwame Nkrumah to be a part of Kwame Nkrumah's inauguration. Upon his return back to the United States of America, Dr. King, he did a whole speech. Spoke in the speech of Birth of a Nation, all about his trip to Ghana. Now I'm going to let you listen a little bit to his speech because it's very inspirational. And I will put down below where you can listen to it in its entirety, because Dr. King definitely has some good things to say about his trip to Ghana and how it inspired him.
Prior to March the 6th, 1957, there existed a country known as the Gold Coast. This country was a colony of the British Empire. This country was situated in that vast continent known as Africa.
After his speech, what the black community probably should have taken away from that was that if this little country can do it, yeah, the black community can do it as well. The black community definitely can fight, be organized, structured, come together, and fight for equality and win against the inequality that's going on. And that's exactly what happened. So when people are in my comment section, acting like what I'm saying is so taboo, that you cannot support and empower the black community but at the same time support the continent of Africa, when they look at me like I'm speaking something that's just brand new, I just have to laugh, because I'm not speaking anything brand new. It's sad that you have people who want to sit there and act like that there was no support and connection and communication and love between the continent of Africa and the black community is crazy to me. To literally erase a whole entire segment of black history simply because you want to change something to fit your feelings. Not the feelings of anybody else but your own. And that's one thing that the prominent leaders in the civil rights movement did. They pushed aside their feelings and thought of the community as a whole. They didn't think about what they felt, how they felt about somebody, how they felt about a situation. They went into how is it going to be good for the people as a whole? How is it going to move the people forward? If it ain't moving the people forward, then don't waste your time with it. In order for the generation to learn, you have to keep teaching them the history. And the history of the civil rights movement, all of it needs to be included in that teaching, including this piece with Dr. Martin Luther King in Ghana, Malcolm X in Ghana, and let's not forget W.E.B. Du Bois. W.E.B. Du Bois is also a very well-known leader as well during the Civil Rights Movement. And he was very outspoken in his political views, got in trouble with the United States of America. They were actually going to arrest him. And he was a part of the NAACP. The NAACP actually distanced themselves from W.E.B. Du Bois. They didn't want their organization to be tainted with what he was dealing with and going through. And so he was basically literally out there on his own. And it was Kwame Nkrumah, once again, who extended a hand to W.E.B. Du Bois. He went to Accra, lived there, and died there. His museum, there's a museum that is in Ghana right now, has all of his belongings there. He died literally on the eve of the March of Washington. W.E.B. Du Bois was born in Massachusetts. For anybody who wants to question where W.E.B. Du Bois was born in, you know, what city and where he was born. People now, it's not enough for you to fight for the black community. Now you have to verify and validate that you are, I guess, good enough lineage wise to speak on the behalf of the black community. Yeah. So on my channel, I have made it known that, and just like Dr. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, who never sugarcoated anything when it came to the black community, they let it know that this is what needs to be done. This is what needs to be changed. You can empower the black community and support the black community and still understand the importance of being connected to the African continent. And you can still say to the black community, you have to look at what you're doing and fix that. All right, y'all, that's all I have to say on that. I am Michele Mazellegh. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.